What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Combat Sports Central. Today we're looking at a real interesting matchup. At 170 pounds, we got Ian Garry, another guy that's being compared to Conor McGregor, basically because he's from Ireland. But to give him credit, he is brash, he is bold, he's outspoken. And he's going to take on Gabe Green, who had a great performance in his last fight against Yohan Lainesse, KOing him in the second round. This fight is extremely interesting. Garry coming off a little bit of a letdown in his second fight after an amazing debut in the UFC. But we're going to take a look at this fight, both fighters past fight, and we're going to try and bring you guys the best bet on the night for this fight. Make sure if you guys enjoy this type of content, you hit that like button and subscribe. We already have tons of videos coming for UFC 276. But without further ado, let's get straight into the breakdown. Where else to start but Ian Garry's Ian Garry's UFC debut, where he took on Jordan Williams, a real tough 170-pounder. And in this fight, the striking exchanges looked pretty even. Both guys got their licks in. Jordan Williams on some leg kicks. He was able to counter kicks with straight rights. And Ian Garry, the longer guy, was able to hit him stepping out of combinations with head kicks, high kicks, body kicks. He'll have the same advantage in this fight with Gabe Green, but even at a more significant level, he has a couple inches in both reach and height for this fight. But nonetheless, Jordan Williams at the end of the round was overextending his left hand, and great striking from Ian Garry. Step back counter left straight puts Jordan Williams to sleep. He's got very powerful hands. But in his next fight, off of all this hype, he takes on Darian, and in this fight, it was a little less impressive. In this fight, it wasn't a bad performance by any means. Darian was the forward pressure aggressor, but as we know, forward pressure does not always equate to volume of strikes. Ian Garry from the outside picked Weeks apart a little bit in this fight, landing way more strikes. Ian Garry almost doubling insignificant strikes landed and doubling insignificant strikes thrown. But nonetheless, in this fight, Darian was, with his forward pressure, he was very smart. He didn't want to overextend himself and get caught. And I think that this might be a good game plan for Gabe Green. Although Weeks lost, if Weeks was able to land a significant shot, this was a controversial decision. Not too bad, but still was a very, very close fight. And I think that the fight against Gabe Green is going to go a lot like this one, because both Darian and Gabe, extremely tough guys, extremely powerful guys that are going to be smart inside the cage. I actually think Weeks was a little bit smarter in the fact that he didn't overextend really at all in this fight. And the only time that he really fell in or opened up an opportunity where he could fall in for Garry to step out and land a shot like he did in the Jordan Williams fight, Weeks was smart enough to get into the clinch and hold him there. He did dominate and control time in this fight, but nonetheless, when it comes to the volume of Garry from this fight, that is why he won, and I don't doubt that Garry could do that to Gabe Green as well, but I think Gabe Green is going to be a little bit more aggressive while moving forward, throw a little more volume than Weeks did, so it might be a little dangerous if you're looking at the finish inside the distance or goes the distance. But for the Garry side, I think that Garry can win this fight exactly as he did in the Weeks fight. Gabe Green, on the other hand, we'll take a look at him versus Yohan Lainesse. In this fight, I thought Yohan looked a lot better in the early stages of this fight. Gabe Green survived what was one of the most brutal overhand right hands I've seen. Watching mixed martial arts, Yohan ducked in, overhand right, landed clean. It looked like Gabe Green went stiff on the ground for just a couple seconds, but he was able to come back into grabbing legs, and then Yohan was gassing himself out. Gabe sensed it like a shark, went to the body with shots. As the smaller guy in this fight too, he fought Yohan, who is the same height as Ian Garry, and in this fight was able to put him away with the body shots and made Yohan basically quit at the end of the second round. With this fight, I really don't want to lean away. It's basically a pick'em fight for me where I'm just going to get mad throwing money away on either side of this fight. However, at minus 104, we do have fight to go the distance. Now, I know Gabe Green has been finished early in his career, but I think that both guys in this fight are tough. Ian Garry has something to fight for with his undefeated record. Gabe is just extremely tough, as we saw in the Yohan fight. I think that my bet for this fight is that minus 104 fight to go the distance. Now, I could eat my words on this one, but I do think both guys are tough enough. I think this could be one of those great fights on the card that go all 3 rounds. I'm going to lean that way. We're going with minus 104. That is my third bet for the card. Make sure you guys check out my other videos for UFC 276, and I will see you in the next one.